Okay, in today's event, we're going to learn how to create a press release in minutes, not hours. Please welcome Mark Williman with Newsworthy AI.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Now here's the front page of Newsworthy with recent releases. Here's a press release that's featured. And this is the typical anatomy of a press release. You know, the headline, if you're in the car, you want to listen to it, you can choose audio, a summary here, three key takeaways. Those are actually AI generated, but the customer approves them before their press release goes out. Those takeaways are used in this 50-second video news short. It AI generated. It basically reads the three takeaways and then uses the images that you uploaded through rotation to make it interesting to look at. And it's in the format, if you download it, it's in the format of for Twitter, for TikTok, for LinkedIn, and Instagram. So companies can use those. You see the call out quote here, your news image here, the embedded hyperlinks in the body of your release, how it's categorized, media contact information, etc. Now, excuse me, once the release goes out, and it goes out to about 400 websites and newsrooms, you will be in Google News, not just the Google web search. It gets into Google News. That's important for a lot of companies. And I want to show you one more thing. I don't know if Santa Cruz Works would be a candidate for this. I'm not sure what kind of platform you're on, but we also have what we call a trusted redirect. And what that means is a company downloads a plugin from Newsworthy, and that allows them to self-host their own press releases so that when someone clicks the headline, they actually go directly to the company's website. So they control the customer journey and they get the website traffic, and they get the backlinks for SEO benefits, which can be fairly significant. And again, that's allowed to be done. I'll just bring up another release here because we're registering every press release on the blockchain, and that's the source of truth. So that traditionally, if a company did a press release, you really want to make sure, which is why they use the major newswire, that the release you read before the markets opened was the same release that you're reading after the markets open. And with blockchain, if anybody edits any release wherever we send it on the web, even by just putting an extra space or a period in there, it breaks the blockchain, and there's a big prominent message that says this press release is not the original. It's been altered. And because of that source of truth, anyway, the blockchain allows you to actually self-host your own press releases, but you don't have to, but you can. I'm going to go into my account here, and I'm going to show you some of the tools we have in actually creating your press release. So we have our AI tool here that if you click it, you can enter whoops, I got kicked out. Hey, Doug, just like when I did my presentation, Ma. So we have this AI tool here where if you had a blog post or an article and you wanted to convert that content into a press release, you just put the article URL here, or you can just write a brief description, about your news, no more than a couple of sentences, and the AI generates the press release. Here's my results. I've already done it. So I use this example at the Santa Cruz Works. I actually took a URL that was Doug's overview of the luncheon, and I put it in. And you can see that was the URL I entered. And then what it does is it creates a summary, and then it also creates a press release with 3 suggested headlines and a release. And in my experience, it gets you about 95% there. You just make some minor edits, and then you're done. And so that kind of removes the barrier of the time it takes to create a press release. If I really, without AI, it would probably take me about an hour. With AI, it takes me about 10 minutes to write the release. By the way, when companies always ask, like, again, I view Newsworthy as a marketing tool just to get your brand out. And our best practices suggestion is doing 1 press release a month because it does have a snowballing effect. And people say, what topics? And my gosh, there's all sorts of topics. There's, new hires, milestones, seminars, workshops, webinars you're doing, events. There's new products. There's, you could do releases on, membership growth. I mean, there's never a shortage. That's just, thinking of ideas. I just did a demo this morning with a company and they do webinars every month. So obviously they want to use releases to promote the webinar and perhaps do a summary of the webinar and mention the speakers and that sort of thing. But once you have your release, and again, the AI can help you write it, you basically go in and you start a release and you put the headline in the headline field, you put a short summary here, a quote, and when you want it to go out, location, your embedded hyperlinks, you pick a category and what it relates to, you pick subcategories or media filters, your contact, you can put a new one there. If you have a video, you can put the embed link there. Then you have your landing page and the release. And then after that, you load your news image up. It gives you the specs for your the size of your image. And then you pick a social banner. That's the image that we use in the AI generated material, and also what would show up if you share it, the release URL when it goes live on a social media platform, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. And by the time you load that up, and if you don't have a social image, you can use Unsplash. We have an integration, so you can just pick a, I can search Unsplash and I could do technology and I do a search and it gives me a bunch of cool images that are already pre-formatted for our platform. So that's neat. And then by the time you're done with that, you get to the AI suggestions. And this is where our AI has already read your release. It comes up with 3 takeaways, which you can edit to make sure they're to your liking. Because again, those are used in the video news short that's generated. And they also show up at the top of your press release. We give you that you can access later your social media suggestions and how to share your press release on social with hashtags. Then we also give you an email that if you do want to reach out to some local journalists, you can just grab this, you can edit it and use it that way. So then it gets into our news marketing features. And I think, Doug, this would really be great for Santa Cruz Works because you have so many people in your network, whether they subscribe to your newsletters or they're members or they've been to your events. Some of them, not all perhaps, but some of them you can add as advocates. You just enter their email addresses on a different page. And what that means is every time you do a press release, they get immediately notified when that release goes live by way of email with a link to the release and a little encouragement to share it. We have about 700 advocates in our company profile. And I can tell by looking at our Google Analytics when we send the release out, all the dots just start popping up from people that are, opening the email and, in many cases sharing it. So it does make a difference. And it's just it's not high tech, but it's just an easy way to notify, your advocates, your stakeholders, friends, family, whatever, that you have new releases. This is a media pitch. You can use Newsworthy to find journalists and their emails and automatically send an email to the journalist. Honestly, I actually prefer just to have a short list of journalists in my, community, 5 or 6 emails, and just use those and send personal emails. I get more results that way. But some of our larger companies that have more of a national focus, they just upload, 100 or so different emails from magazines like Inc., Entrepreneur, etc. Everybody does it differently. But that's the quick overview, guys. And then once your release goes live, you get notified by way of email. And if you don't have the advocates, I would definitely then also share your release on social and, perhaps encourage others to do the same. But it's not rocket science. It's pretty basic, but it's, again, Doug, where we started the call, I really view these releases as the goal is more marketing oriented, not, for the sole purpose of getting press. So I think, you guys do a lot, and I think that you would have something to announce each month. And, you can even use AI for that.
Okay,
So
Mark, tell us
after
about
your
data analytics, if you would, please.
Yeah, after your press release goes out, you can log into your account and you get notified by way of email, but you can also log in and you can just click your clipping report. And we're going to be upgrading these because right now it gives a simple, you can find your news on the news portals of search engines, not just the web search by clicking those. And then you can scroll down and, there's like 400 different websites that the press release was distributed to. So as far as the detailed analytics, we don't have any numbers right now. What a lot of newswires do, just be perfectly candid, is they would say go to Xtreme and they would know through, that they get 50,000 page views a month. So they would give your potential reach as 50,000. Well, we all know, maybe one at Mediacom is actually going to stumble across that press release organically. So the metrics that we want to provide is actually how many times your press release loaded on all these sites. We have that right now, and we can get that to you manually, but it's not being shown on this, but it should be within the next 3 to 4 weeks. And then you can actually see how many times your press release actually loaded. Now, that said, if you do the trusted redirects where you're actually hosting the press release through our plugin, WordPress plugin, whatever, any site can host, then you can use your own Google Analytics to actually see how many times your press release was loaded. And, so that's full transparency there. But yeah, long-winded answer to your question is you'll see all the places that we distribute it to. You could, of course, search to see them too. But we don't yet have the specific numbers of how many people actually clicked and read the release, but that's coming soon.